What is Selenium? Any idea regarding Selenium?
I just know that it's automation testing tool.
Yes. Yes, it is one automation testing tool. Now, Selenium, it is an open source automation functional testing tool. Selenium is an open source automation functional testing tool. So, the first one is open source. So, what is open source? Open source means free of cost. It is not a licensed version. If net is available, anyone can download and we can use it. That is called as open source. After that, what is an automation? What is an automation? Generally in testing there are two types are there, manual testing and automation testing. Whereas in manual testing, as a test engineer, we are preparing test cases. As a test engineer, we are preparing test cases. Test cases. Whereas automation, we are converting these test cases into test scripts. So what is an automation? Automation means the process of converting test cases into test scripts is nothing but automation. So the process of converting manual test cases into test scripts by using any tool is nothing but automation. So how to convert this test case into test case later we will discuss. So we can use any tool, either it is a QTP or it is a Selenium, is Silk test, rational robo, any tool. The process of converting test cases into test scripts by using any tool is nothing but automation. Then why we go for automation? Why we go for automation? What are the advantages in there? Yes. What are the advantages in automation? What are the advantages in automation? The main purpose of automation is to save the time. Yes, in manual testing it will take so much time, whereas in case of automation we can save the time. And we go for automation, we can reduce cost to the company also. Whereas in manual testing it required manpower. Suppose I want to automate some project is there, some 5 to 6 members are required, whereas in automation we can reduce the manpower. Automatically we can reduce the cost to the company. And one time we can generate the script, multiple times we can read. That is called as scripts are repeatable. Scripts are repeatable. Accuracy in results. Accuracy in results. And tool will provide test report. Tool will provide test report. We can ensure for quality. Now, these are all the common advantages for every automation tool. So by using automation, the main thing is we can save the time, we can reduce cost to the company, scripts are repeatable, accuracy in results, tool will provide test report, we can ensure for quality. So these advantages are common for every automation tool, not only the Selenium. Any automation, either it is a QTP or it is a Selenium or it is a Silk test, Rational Robo, Lisa, Tosca, any tool. So why here I can mention, is it a functional testing tool? Simply Selenium is one of the open source tool. Okay, it is an automation tool, but here I'm mentioning it is one of the functional testing tool. No, because in testing tools, types of automation tools, testing tools. How many types of tools are there? First category is functional tools. Second category, performance tools. Third category, defect tracking tools or defect reporting tools. Fourth category, security tools. So what are the functional tools? Functional tools means by using these tools we are able to verify only the functional behavior of application, means only we can perform functionality testing. So we can verify only the functional behavior. So what are the tools comes under these functional tools? Selenium, QTP, Silk Test, Lisa, Tosca, Cucumber, Coded UI, like that multiple tools are there. All these tools comes under functional. Why? Because only the functionality testing is possible. Only the functional behavior. So what is the functionalities? What is the functionality testing? What is the non-functionality testing? We will discuss later on, okay? So these are all the tools comes under functional tools. Performance means there is one testing is there, performance testing. We can verify load, stress, scalability, stability of the application. Some multiple techniques are there under performance testing. Those tools are load runner and JMeter. Defect tracking. The main purpose of testing is to identify the defects in the application. To identify the defects. So as a test engineer, once we identify the defects, we are intimated to the developers. How to intimate it? Either by manually or by using these defect tracking or defect reporting tools. Those tools are QC, Bugzilla, Zira, Mantis BT, ClearQuest, Issue Tracker, P Tracker, like multiple tools are there. And security tools. To perform the security testing, we are using this tool, AppScan. So these are all the types of automation tools, testing tools, functional tools, performance tools, defect tracking tools, and security tools. So come to Selenium. So Selenium is one of the automated functional testing tool. So what is the Selenium? This is the Selenium. Selenium is an open source, means free of cost. One of the automation, which type? Functional testing tool. So many guys, if they are asking what is Selenium means, Selenium is a testing tool. Okay, fine. Selenium is an automation tool. Okay, done. But Selenium is an open source automation functional testing tool. So what is automation? The process of converting test cases into test script by using some tool is nothing but automation. Why we go for automation? We can save the time, reduce cost to the company, scripts are repeatable, accuracy in results, tool will provide test report. We can ensure for quality. So why it is a functional tool? There are different categories are there. Functional tools, performance tools, defect tracking tools, and security tools. So Selenium comes under functional tools. Now, so in functional tools, so many are there. Selenium is there, QTP is there, Silk Test, Lisa, Tosca, Cucumber, like that multiple are there. Okay. So in all these, why we go for Selenium? What is the necessity? Why Selenium? What is the reason? Why? Because there are so many opportunities are there nowadays in Selenium. That's why we go for Selenium. Previously the popular tool is QTP, but nowadays the popular tool is Selenium. Yes, that's why we go for Selenium classes. Maybe tomorrow if there is any tool is there, latest tool, automatically we go for the latest tool. Then why companies are migrating to Selenium from QTP? Previously, most of the companies they are using only the QTP, but nowadays all the companies they are using Selenium. Why? Because what is the reason is there? The main reason is Selenium is an open source, whereas QTP is a licensed version. Selenium is a licensed version. Who introduced QTP? Who introduced QTP? It is introduced by Mercury company. After that, it is handed out by HP company. Now we want to use QTP, must and should buy license from the HP company. The single system license is minimum 8 to 9 lakhs. Cost is there. Whereas if it is a concurrent license, 20 to 25 lakhs is there. Whereas Selenium, same functionalities, everything is there, free of cost. That's why all the companies they are migrating from QTP to Selenium. Now here you can observe, automation means the process of converting test cases into test scripts. Scripts means we are writing some programs. We are writing some programs in tool. So what is the language we are using here? What is the language we are using? In QTP, it supports, we can write program in VB script. As QTP supports only VB script only. What about the Selenium? Selenium supports multiple languages. Selenium supports multiple languages. Yes, that is, it supports Java, .NET, PHP, Ruby, Python, Perl script, finally HTML. So it supports multiple languages, 7 languages it will support: Java, C#.NET, PHP, Ruby, Python, Perl script and HTML. Whereas QTP supports only VB script. It supports only the VB script language. After that, so what is the operating system? In which operating system it was compatible? QTP is compatible with only Windows. If I want to install QTP, must and should we have Windows operating system. Otherwise, it is not possible to install QTP. What about Selenium? Selenium supports Windows, Linux and Mac. 3 operating systems it will support. And what about the browsers? Suppose if you want to automate any web application means generally we are using some browsers, either IE, Firefox, Google Chrome, like that multiple browsers are there. Come to the QTP. QTP supports 3 browsers, IE, Firefox and Chrome browser. Come to the Selenium. It supports also IE, Firefox, Chrome. Along with this, it supports 2 more browsers, that is Opera and Safari. As a test engineer, we can test applications. Generally, applications are 3 types: desktop application, web application and mobile applications. So in all these applications, QTP supports. So by using QTP, we are able to automate desktop, web application and mobile application. So all the applications is possible to automate by using QTP. Whereas in Selenium supports only web and mobile. It is not possible to automate desktop applications. That is only one drawback in the Selenium. See, the only one drawback in Selenium is by using Selenium, it is not possible to automate desktop applications. It is possible only to automate web and mobile, whereas QTP supports all the applications, desktop applications, web applications and mobile applications. But Selenium, there are two versions are there, 1 and 2. Latest one, 3 is also available. Okay. So in these two, in this second version, there is one open source tool is there. That tool is Sikuli. Sikuli is one of the open source automated tool. It is also one of the open source tool. Okay. Once we configure Sikuli into Selenium, then it is possible to handle these desktop applications also. So directly Selenium does not support desktop application. With the help of Sikuli, it is possible. So automatically that problem is also overcome in Selenium. So maximum in Selenium there are so many advantages are there. The only one disadvantage is Selenium directly does not support the desktop applications to automate. So when compared with QTP, it is more flexible and extendable. It is less flexibility and extendability. Flexibility means Selenium is flexible with multiple languages, multiple operating systems and multiple browsers. QTP is flexible with only one language, one operating system and limited browsers. That is called as flexibility. And what about extendable? Extendable means 90% of companies we are using Selenium with Java. So Java is an extendable language. First one, core Java. After that, advanced Java. After that, J2E. So Java is an extendable language. What about VBScript? It is not an extendable language. Previously in .NET there is a VB.NET is there. Now there is only C#.NET, ASP.NET and ADO.NET is there. So why we go for Selenium means these are all the advantages in Selenium. The main thing is Selenium is a open source tool. It supports multiple languages, multiple operating systems and multiple browsers. The only one drawback is it does not support desktop applications. So it is also overcome by using one of the open source tool, that is Sikuli. That's why we go for Selenium. No. So by using Selenium, what kind of web applications can we automate? What kind of web applications can we automate by using Selenium? So web application means, suppose you can observe here, Gmail. It is one web application. Gmail is a one web application. It is developed by using Java. There is one another application is there. This is spicejet.com, developed by using ASP.NET. Suppose there is another application is there, xe.com. It is developed by using PHP. So here three web applications are there. One is Gmail, one is spicejet, one is xe.com. So this application is PHP application. It is ASP.NET. This is the Java application. So in all these three type applications, what kind of web applications can we automate by using Selenium? What kind of web application can we automate? So by using Selenium, no, not only the Java applications, any kind of applications, yes, either it is a Java, okay, or it is a .NET, or it is a PHP, or any other language, whatever the language is there. So any language, any type of application, all kinds of web applications we can automate by using Selenium. Yes, any kind of application we can automate by using Selenium. Then when to start automation for your project? When to start automation for a project? So when we go for automation means whenever the application or build is stable, whenever the application is stable, to save the regression testing time, then we go for automation. When the build is stable, to save the regression testing time, then we go for automation. So the main purpose of automation is to save the regression testing time. Regression testing means it is part of the manual testing. There are some test cases are there. Every time I am executing all these test cases into every modified build. Suppose there are 500 test cases are there. I want to execute manually. Maybe it will take some 10 to 11 days or 10 days. So every build 10 days means suppose there are 4 or 5 builds are there. Every time it will take 10 days time. Whereas in automation, completely we can save that execution time. So whenever the application is stable, to save the regression testing time, then we go for automation. So what is a Selenium? It is one of the open source automation functional testing tool. What is automation? What are the advantages? How many types of tools are there? Why we go for Selenium? And what kind of web applications can we automate? When to start automation for your project? Then what are the Selenium components are there? What are the Selenium components? Selenium is majorly built with 5 components. Selenium IDE, Selenium RC, Selenium WebDriver, Selenium Grid, finally Selendroid, or we go for APM. The latest one is APM. These are all the 5 components in the Selenium. First one, Selenium IDE. IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. Integrated Development. Generally, there are some IDEs are there. Eclipse is IDE. NetBeans, Edit Place. There are also some IDEs. Same like that, Selenium IDE is also one of the integrated development environment. It is purely for record and run the script. It is purely record and run the scripts. Means whatever the actions we are performing, everything will be recorded and executed. Suppose here in this go to meeting, okay, here I am recording this session. After that I will send this recording. What is that recording option? Whatever I am typing, whatever I am explaining, everything will be recorded. After that you can play back. Same like that, IDE also record and run the script. Whatever the actions we are performing on the browser, everything will be recorded and executed on that browser. It is add-on for Firefox. So we can install only in Firefox. Other browsers it is not possible. See, Selenium supports multiple browsers. IE, Firefox, Chrome, Opera, Safari. But IDE supports? Yes, only the Firefox. It is not possible to install Chrome, Opera, Safari like that. We can install only in the Firefox browser. It is accountable for user actions. Means whatever the actions we are performing, everything will be recorded and executed on the browser. Suppose if you are performing some actions, by default what is the recording language? By default what is the recording? In which language it was recording? Yes, IDE is recorded by HTML. By default it will record in HTML language. Generally Selenium supports 7 languages: Java, C#, Ruby, Python, Perl script, HTML. By default IDE will record in HTML language. Suppose if I want to convert this language into another languages, either if I want to convert into RC, or if I want to convert into WebDriver, or I want to convert into some another language, as possible. It is possible to convert the recorded language into other languages also. It is possible to convert the recorded language into other languages also. But the converted language can't be executed in IDE. Yes, whatever the language you are converted into other language, it is not possible to execute it in IDE. Suppose if I am converted this language into RC, simply you can copy this script, paste into RC and execute it. Suppose if I am converted this HTML into some WebDriver language, Java, you can copy it, paste it. But IDE is not compatible with other language. IDE is compatible with only HTML. If it is in HTML language, then only it is possible to execute it. So IDE is purely for record and run the scripts. It is add-on for the Firefox. We can install only in the Firefox browser. It is accountable for user actions. By default, it will be recorded in HTML language. If you want to convert into other language also possible, but the converted language can't be executed in IDE. So after that I will explain how to install IDE, how to record single scenario, how to record multiple scenarios. Next component is Selenium RC. RC stands for remote control. So just like to operate the TVs, ACs, we are using some remotes. Same like that here, Selenium RC is nothing but a remote control. It is the first version. It is Selenium 1. It is the Selenium 1. It is a server. It is a server. It launches all the browsers, but only one browser at a time possible. It launches all the browsers, but only one browser at a time. So it is a server. It launches all the browsers, but only one browser at a time. Perform the task. Then close the browser. It acts as an API, means application programming interface. So Selenium RC is nothing but remote control. It is a server. It launches all the browsers, but only one browser at a time. Perform the task and close the browser. It acts as an API. API means application programming interface. So It is the first version means there are some disadvantages are there, some limitations are there. So whatever the limitations in RC, at the time of writing the programs, at the time of execution time, I will explain whatever the problems in RC, what are the disadvantages are there. So whatever the limitations they identified in RC, all these are overcome in WebDriver. The mainly in RC, the problems are to launch the browser by default it launches in the minimized state. To run the RC programs we need to start the server. So like that some problems are there in RC. So whatever the problems they identified in RC, all these are overcome in WebDriver. So third component, Selenium WebDriver. It is the advanced version of RC is known as WebDriver. The advanced version of RC is known as WebDriver. It is Selenium 2. So in Selenium there are two versions are there, 1 and 2. Latest 3 is also available. So the advanced version of RC is known as WebDriver. It is the Selenium 2. So why we go for 2 means whatever the limitations which are identified in RC are overcome and given added advantages. So the advanced version of RC is nothing but a WebDriver. It is the second version of the Selenium. The first version is RC, the second version is WebDriver. So whatever the limitations they identified in RC, all those are overcome and given added advantage. Here also it is possible to launch all the browsers, but only one at a time. Yes, we can launch all the latest browsers, IE, Chrome, Firefox, Opera, Safari. All the browsers possible to launch, but only one browser at a time is possible to launch the applications. So either you can observe either RC WebDriver, it is possible to launch all the browsers, but only one at a time possible. So whatever the problems in RC, all those are overcome and given advantages in this WebDriver part. So what about the fourth component? Selenium grade. Suppose there is a one testing is there, that is compatibility testing. It is the manual testing part. Compatibility. Compatibility testing means suppose if any application is there, that application is compatible with multiple operating systems or not, multiple browsers or not. Suppose you can observe SpiceJet application is there, web application. Is it compatible with multiple browsers? Here I am using Chrome browser. Is it compatible with Firefox? Is it compatible with IE, Opera, Safari? So an application is compatible with multiple browsers or not, multiple operating systems. Suppose you can observe QTP is there. QTP is compatible with only Windows. It is not compatible with Mac. It is not compatible with Linux. Selenium is compatible with all the operating systems, so Windows, Linux, Mac applications. So that is called as compatibility. One application is compatible or not with multiple browsers, multiple compilers, multiple operating system. That is called as compatibility. Suppose one application is compatible with multiple browsers, either Chrome, Firefox, IE, Opera, Safari, either WebDriver or RC. It is possible to launch only one browser at a time. So first I need to launch one browser. Execute it. Suppose if it is a Firefox, it will take to execute all my programs 1 hour time. Close this, launch one more browser, Google Chrome. It will take 1 hour time. After that, open IE browser. It will take again 1 hour time. Next Opera, again it will take 1 hour time, and Safari. So to execute my all the scripts in all 5 browsers, it will take totally 5 hours time. Either it is a RC and WebDrive. Why? Because either RC or WebDrive it is possible, only one browser at a time possible. That is the main thing in RC and WebDriver. All browsers possible, only one at a time. Suppose instead of launching only one browser, if there is any chance to launch all the browsers, execute at a time parallelly, automatically we can save the time. So what about the grid concept? Grid is for parallel execution. Grid is for parallel execution. So then instead of launching one by one, I can launch browsers parallelly at a time, and completely we can execute my scripts within 1 hour time only. So that is called as parallel execution purpose. To launch all the browsers at a time, we go for the grid. So grid is for parallel execution. It is for parallel execution. We can launch all the browsers parallelly and executes scripts parallelly. The main purpose of we can save the execution time. Yes, to save the execution time, we go for the grid. So maximum we can launch 5 browsers at a time. Why? Because Selenium supports 5 browsers. So that is the grid concept. Now you can see grid, WebDriver, RC and IDE. These 4 components are to automate the web applications. To automate the web applications. Whereas in mobile applications, there is one component, that is Selenium. The latest component is APM. It is to automate mobile applications. It is to automate mobile applications. So as part of my course in Selenium, I will explain these 4 components. How to automate the web applications. Selenium IDE first I will explain. After that RC. Presently RC was deprecated, but I will explain some 2 or 3 sessions. Why? Because why RC was deprecated. What are the problems in RC? What are the limitations in RC? How they are overcome in WebDriver and Grid. So in this, there are different frameworks are there. So I will explain. The first one I go for JUnit and TestNG. These 2 are the built-in frameworks. After that, how to develop our own framework. So first of all, what is a framework? What is the framework? The structural way of maintaining scripting is called as a framework. There are multiple frameworks are there in Selenium. There are multiple frameworks are there. Modular framework, keyword driven framework, data driven framework, hybrid framework, like that multiple are there. So first I go for JUnit and TestNG. After that, how to develop our own framework. Finally I go for Sikuli. Why this Sikuli is? Sikuli is for to automate the desktop applications. Selenium supports only web and mobile, but with the help of Sikuli, it is possible to automate desktop applications also. So I go for this JUnit, TestNG, one framework and Sikuli. So along with this, some latest concepts are there in Selenium. How to create a Maven project. How to create a Maven project. And these are all some additional concepts. Jenkins, POM, real-time project implementation. These 4 are some additional concepts. At the end of the sessions, I will explain some. It will take some 1 week time. How to create a Maven project, Jenkins, POM, how to implement project in the real time. Yes, real-time implementation of your project. Generally in the online classes means just we go for the some IDE, RC some programs, WebDriver programs, grid programs. Along with this, I will use these additional concepts. These are all the real-time very important concepts. So in my course content, first I go for this IDE. Next session I go for IDE. How to install IDE? What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages are there? How to record single scenario, multiple scenarios. After that, Selenium configuration. How to configure Selenium with Java. Means Selenium configuration means we can download Java. There are some jar files are there. To write the programs, one editor is required. So all these. After that, WebDriver, grid. At the end of the sessions, I go for that real-time concepts, Maven, Jenkins, POM, how to implement a project. One live application I will explain, how to automate the live applications. Real-time project implementation I will explain. So daily our timing is 6:30 to 7:30. Classes is Monday to Friday. Maximum it will take 1 month time course. 30 sessions, 30 to 40 sessions required. Daily morning 6:30 to 7:30 a.m. Monday to Friday I will take the class. Yes, now any doubts? You type in the chat